Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Faye. So today I want to go over the subject two, pretty popular right now. Everybody's trying to figure out how to buy properties by taking over payments, which is what subject two means. So yeah, today we're gonna go kind of little mini masterclass regarding subject two and how to take over payments on these properties. So yeah. So, what is subject to for those of y'all who have no idea what I'm talking about, and even if you know what I'm talking about, hopefully you can get something out of this. But subject to is when a property is sold, subject to the existing loan. The seller's existing mortgage remains in place after the property is sold, while the new buyer continues payments for the remaining life of the loan. To keep it simple, you're just stepping into somebody's shoes and continuing their payment. So let's say you bought a house 2 years ago and for whatever reason you need to sell, listing it on the market doesn't make sense because there's not a lot of equity. I would simply come in and just continue the payments as you're making them right now. So it's that simple. And as far as closing it, obviously, there's you can use the title company, you can go through the attorney, but right now, I just want to simplify everything on what is subject to, and that's simply taking over somebody's payments. And as you can see here, you do not have to pay off the mortgage in order to sell a house. And that's the misconception a lot of people have that they think, oh, I need to pay off my mortgage in order for me to sell you my house. And that's not true because as you see here, title and mortgage are not tied together. So those are two separate things. And that's another misconception people have. They think the title and the mortgage are the same thing, but they're actually separated, meaning that you're able to come in and purchase a property subject to, so the title is going to go into your name, but the loan is gonna stay in their name. So again, subject to the existing loan, we're simply just stepping into the homeowner's shoes and taking over their payment. It's really that simple. I'm actually here at my house right now. I bought it subject to, so the loan is in somebody else's name, and every month I just make the payment, and all the bank sees is, hey, I'm not gonna say his name, but let's say Mr. Smith just made a payment every month, and that's all they see. Again, the title, they don't see, you know, that there was a title change unless they go and try to look for that, which is rare. But they sometimes the banks will go look into if there was a title change or anything. Um, but yeah, I don't want to scare y'all with any of that right now. I just want to keep this information simple and make y'all understand what is subject to. So subject to is simply buying a property subject to the existing loan, and we're just stepping in to their shoes and continuing the payments for the entirety of the loan, whether they have 20 years left, 30 years left, whatever terms they have, that's what you're going to be taking over. So, the benefits of a subject to. So, let's say most people know how to buy properties the conventional way. You go to the bank, go to your loan officer, apply for a loan, whether it's an FHA loan, whether you're getting a VA loan, whether you're getting a conventional loan. Pretty much, they're all kind of have the same process. You got to go in there, apply. You got to prove you have a job. You got to make sure you have good credit, show your tax returns. Um, there's going to be loan fees. They're going to check your DTI. So it's a whole process whenever you're buying a home the conventional way, which is what most people do. They go to their loan officer, they go to the bank, and hey, I want to buy a property, and they have to apply. And it's a process, and that's what most people do to buy a property is go the conventional way. Another thing, going that route is that you're limited. You can only, I don't know the exact amount, but you can't go buy 10, 20, 15 of these, through FHA or because it's just not allowed. Um, but if you go in the non-conventional way, the creative way, buying the property subject to, the benefits with that is that nobody's going to check your credit, nobody's going to check if you have a job. Which I don't advise you taking over somebody payments if you don't have a job. If you can't really make those payments, please don't be that person. Another benefit is they won't check your tax returns. There's no applications. They're not going to check your debt to income ratio. There's no fees. And one of the top things is I get a better interest rate. So if I'm taking over payments on a loan that was bought about 3, 4 years ago, pretty sure I'm gonna get a 3-4%, 2 to 4% interest rate instead of the 6-7% interest rate that they're offering right now. And the best benefit out of this, it's unlimited. You can buy as many properties as you want, um, whenever you're going the subject to route. So, so yeah, there's really no cap on how many properties you can buy, and it's really easy because you don't have to go to the bank, you don't have to do any of that. You're never even gonna step into the bank. You don't even have to talk to the bank when you're buying a subject to. So yeah, so everybody is used to buying the property the conventional way. Obviously, these are the requirements when you go the conventional way, but when you're thinking creative, when you're buying a property subject to, I mean, there's a whole bunch of benefits on that. And the types of loans that I normally like to take over and I've taken over personally, so I feel comfortable talking about, are your typical FHA loans, which a lot of people get, your conventional loans, and your VA loans. Um, so other than that, I don't really mess with, any other kind of loans. I focus mostly on FHA and conventional. I get a VA loan here and there, but the most of them that we mess with are FHA and conventional. So most people ask me, hey, so where do you find these subject to properties? How do I get into it? So the easiest way to really find a subject to, and this is what most people target, are pre-foreclosures. Those are people who are behind minimum 120 days on the mortgage. The problem with these is that since they're behind on their mortgage, um, you have to bring it up to date. So if you're going to take over somebody's payments that are delinquent on their payments, you got to remember that they have arrears, meaning they have back payments to catch them up to avoid foreclosure. So if you're starting off and you don't really have the money, pre-foreclosure are a little difficult to get into just because, the arrears, they're called arrears, but back payments, I don't confuse you, the back payments, that's going to have to be paid off before you take over the payments. Another list that I like is the no equity list, properties that were bought. I put 5 to 7 years ago, but ideally no more than 5 years. Um, and so those are properties that were bought 5 years ago, and for whatever reason, maybe a job relocation, maybe, they're struggling financially. You just never know what somebody goes through. Um, but these properties you can go into, and these typically don't have arrears because they're caught up. They just need to sell, but listing it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I love these, that list right there. No equity properties bought, 3 to 5 years ago. I need to change that on here. Another list I like to hit are listings on the MLS that have been sitting for 90 days or more, and again, bought anywhere from 3 to 5 years ago. Um, so yeah, so there's motivation because the agent needs to sell. They don't get paid unless they sell something, because they get paid on commission. So it's in their benefit if if you tell them, hey, Mr. Agent, I noticed your property has been listed for 90 days, 100 days. I also did a little bit of research, noticed about it, about 3, 5 years ago. There's not much equity, but hey, you think they consider an offer where I come in and take over their payments? I'd pay your commission, pay the closing costs, and make this as easy as possible. So that's typically how I come into the agents, um, whenever I'm targeting properties that are listed. As far as where I get them from, we pull all our foreclosures from foreclosehouston.com. I'm not affiliate. I don't even think they do affiliates, but I mean, you can go on there, and again, it costs money to use that website to pull these foreclosures, but it just makes it easier to pull them instead of going to your county and doing one by one. Another one is that most people are familiar with is PropStream. Oh fuck, it's PropStream, and I use that from time to time. I'm going to use it here later on just for educational purposes. But I personally, since my mom's a real estate agent, we have access to the MLS. It just makes it easier, and to me, it's the most accurate place I can find all these kind of properties. Um, but for most people, you're probably gonna use PropStream, but yeah, if you have an agent, you have a family member that's an agent, see if you can have access to their MLS, and that's another way that you can find these types of properties that have been listed for 90 days or more. And yeah, a lot of these times these agents are motivated. You just got to go in there and educate them on the subject if they're not familiar, and talk to them about the pros, the cons, how you're gonna make it a win-win for everybody. And you'd be surprised you can buy properties for $1,000, $2,000, even sometimes for free. I mean, you're just paying their closing costs. Because you got to think about it, if they bought a house 3 years ago, let's say they owe 250, and the house is worth 250. If you list it, with agent fees, closing costs, you're actually on the negative. You're actually going to have to bring a check to the closing table to get their house sold, which is crazy. Um, Instead, I go in there, hey, instead of you bringing money to the table, how about I give you two, 3 grand, and you let me take over your payments, and I'll pay your agent, I'll pay your closing costs, and you're in it for 2, 3, 4, 5 grand, just depending on the closing costs, depending on who you're using. But yeah, I mean, you can find these properties all day long. So, what do I do with these properties whenever when we buy a subject to? And a lot of them, it just depending on the area. We personally like to cherry pick. If it's in our area in Galveston County, we like to keep them. But for the most part, you can wholesale them out. Um, a lot of people, there's a lot of investors that love to buy these subject twos. Um, you can get, good 10, 15, 20K fee out of them. At the end of the day, the investor just cares about what the cash flow is and if there's a little bit of equity in them. But yeah, but just be cautious who you wholesale them to, because remember, you're making a commitment with that homeowner that you're going to make the payments. And so if you wholesale it off to somebody that you don't know and they default on the payments, all this shit's going to come back to you, and you just don't want that. I like to be stress free, and I just sell these subject twos to 2, 3 people I personally know that have bought, 5+ deals from me. I know that they're making the payments every month. Everybody's happy. So yeah, don't put yourself in a position so just to make a quick buck selling them to somebody random, and they not perform and it comes back to you. So just be careful. Another extra strategy we like to use on these subject twos is owner finance them. So we pick up a property, we buy it subject to. Let's say there's still an underlying lien on it. Let's say there's a mortgage with Wells Fargo. I turn around and I owner finance it out, add my numbers to it. So let's say I owe 150 to the 150K to Wells Fargo. I'm gonna owner finance it for 200K and just wrap the note. So that's very popular, owner financing them out. Another route I've heard about, I personally don't do it. It just depends where you live. Is you can do a lease option to them, but I'm not gonna get too deep into that because I've never done it, so I don't like speaking about shit that I've never done. Um, Another one is hotels. So you buy a subject to, and there's some nice equity into it. You might have to just do a little lipstick rehab, maybe a quick cleanup, quick paint, and then you put it right back into the market. So that's what hoteling means. So you can buy a property subject to, and then list it the next day, and just sell it that way. And then my favorite one is, if you're looking for a house, and let's say you have a trouble credit, or your financials are not all there yet to qualify for your traditional loan like we talked before, is you can buy a subject to and live in it. I mean, I'm a perfect example. I live in one. I own another one in a big city. And yeah, that's the beautiful thing about this is you can cherry pick where you want to live, buy this property subject to, live in one. If another opportunity comes, move to that one, rent this one out. So I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, and not once did I walk into the bank. Not once did I say, "Hey, I need to apply for a loan." Not once did they check my credit. Not once did they check my tax. Nothing, like nothing. Um, and that's the beautiful thing about Subject to. You just go in there. We close with the title company. Just go in there. Next day, I'm the owner, and I'm just continuing the payments just like they were with the previous owner. Again, the loan stays in place, but the title transfers to your name or to the new buyer. So I think that was it on my slides. I want to go into PropStream, and I just got the free version just for educational purposes because I do use the MLS. So I really have no use for PropStream. But let's go into PropStream and show you how to find these properties. So I'm gonna do Brazoria County. I don't really mess with Brazoria County, so I'm going to show you Brazoria County, but wherever you're at, I mean, you can do this. So we put Brazoria County, and then on the filters, we're gonna put owner occupied. Owner occupied. I put any occupancy status, any property characteristics. I like to keep it as single family. Do condos as well, and then I put also vacant land residential because those could be new builds, and PropStream categorizes them as vacant land. And then we go to MLS status here. Oh shit, I fucked up. MLS status on market. We put yes for sale. I mean, listing type we just want for sale. We don't want to get the rental listings. Ownership info. Let's put five. I like to go five. Some people like three, four. I mean, it's you just gotta test and see what works best for you. But we'll go back all the way five. Ownership 5 years. We go to valuation. I like the loan to value 80%, meaning there's at least 20% equity, which if you take account closing costs, agent fees, they're probably not going to walk away with anything, if anything. And then mortgage info, loan types, FHA. Again, you can do these with conventional VA. It's pretty much the same shit. So as you can see, we got about 16 properties here. Just making sure everything is correct. And again, this is just a quick overview. You can go more in depth with this and find properties all day long. So let's just mess with these right here. So as you can see, estimated equity $9,000. Let's just click on this one. So MLS, and real quick, I don't care about any of this information. This is how quick I do it. So it's pending, but let's just say that they're selling it for 299. Their mortgage is 272, so they really don't have a lot of equity. So I would keep an eye on this one. It's pending. I always like to go on here, just check the Zillow link, just to see what the agent is saying. So Amherst, and I've never checked this one out, so y'all can see what I do. It's showing that it's not listed. PropStream shows that it is listed. Let's see here on the hard link. Okay, so actually this one just sold for 300 on August 19th. Oh shit, so not that long ago. So good for them. So let's go on to the next one. Shit, this one here shows negative equity. So let's click on that one. We go to see what it's listed for. It's listed for 352, 48 days in the market. They owe 309 plus 70, 370, 380. It's listed for 350. So this one is a perfect example where they might have to bring money to the closing table unless someone like you that's learning subject two comes in and offers the subject two route. So we can see here it's active. They've done a price reduction 1.68%. A lot of these homes are going to be move-in ready. They're beautiful homes. So this would be a perfect example of one, and y'all can try it out. Y'all can let me know if it works. If y'all get in contact with the agent, and y'all need help, y'all hit me up. But yeah, this is a perfect example of one. So it's listed for 352. Let's make sure. Yep, 352. Y'all can see here. But they have an FHA loan that they got back in 2020, and they have about 309,000 remaining balance. Plus, right here, Secretary of Housing. They probably refinanced, got a HUD loan for another 72 grand. So yeah, this underwater, and as you can see, it's showing here underwater. But hey, that doesn't mean it's not an opportunity. As you can see here, they got a 3% interest rate. So if you can get a hold of the agent and tell them, hey, Mr. Agent, I'm inquiring about your property here in Pearland online. Hey, I noticed it's been listed for, 42 days, or how many days? Let me check. For 48 days. What's going on? Why still sitting in the market, you want to kind of build that rapport first before you hit in with the subject to. I'm like, hey, so I did a little bit of research and I noticed that they just bought it back in 2020 and they owe about 380, 390, and I see here y'all are listing it for 352. I mean, in this case, are they kind of bringing money to the closing table to get this done? You see what the agent says. Sometimes they're going to give the information, sometimes they don't. But like, hey, I if I'm able to come in and take over the payments and cover your commission and pay for the closing costs, do you think this is something your client would consider? So that's simple. Just ask. And it's in the benefit of the agent to relate this offer to their client because the agent doesn't get paid unless they sell something. And a lot of agents, I mean, I'm not talking shit, but when they go to school, when they go get their license, they're not taught this kind of stuff. They're just taught to list the property and sell it for full market value. And so most of them don't understand that, okay, so if there's no equity, I can somebody can come in and buy it subject to. So you got to go in there and just educate the realtor, whoever you're speaking to, and be like, hey, these are the pros, these are the cons. This is why we can make it a win-win. I'll get you paid. I'll pay the closing costs. I'll get this house sold. Maybe your client needs to sell. Maybe they're relocating. Maybe it's an emergency they need to sell, but it's just listed on the market, and nobody has provided any other solution. So when I come in and be like, hey, instead of if instead of your client bringing money to the table, I can just simply take over the payments, put a grand or two in their pocket, pay your commission, pay the closing costs, and call this a done deal. And you'd be surprised how many properties we've gone real cheap. So let's do another one. I mean, this is endless. You can do any county across the nation. It's gonna be the same process. So real quick, this one's listed for 280. You go to mortgage. They owe 268. They do have a higher interest rate with prime lending. It's an FHA loan. Um, but again, rentals have gone up, so it's just a matter of seeing what your payment is, seeing what you can rent it for, or if you're gonna live in it, and you don't really care about the payment, and the payment makes sense for you, and it's not an investment. Still call them. So as you can see here, they owe 268 and it's listed for 280. So if you factor in the 6% agent fees, closing costs, any type of repairs the new buyers requesting, I mean, they're in the negative. They're gonna bring a check to the closing table, if that, or make zero at the closing table. And the only one that's really, and I don't even know how the agent's gonna get paid on this one. So hit them up. Hey, and here's a little script I have, and you can use this as a text message, or use it as a phone call. Just make it your own words. But hey, good morning. My name is Fabian. I'm an investor from the League City area. I don't know if I have the right number. And this is if I'm reaching out to the homeowner if it's not listed. So let me go to agent outreach. So hey, good afternoon. My name is Fabian. I'm an investor from League City. I came across your listing at 206 Orchid Frost Drive. I own a few properties out there. I noticed there's not much equity in this one since it was recently purchased and they owe around whatever the number is. One is see if they would consider an offer where I could come in and take over the payments. I would cover your commission and put something in their pocket and cover the closing costs. I have good references from a title company that I close with. Let me know. So yeah, I mean, I send this text message out all day long. You'd be surprised how many agents hit me back up. Um, and again, you can use this in a phone call. Just make it your own wording. Don't complicate it. I mean, it's that simple. And as you can see here, clear example of people that might need to sell. There might be urgency for them to sell, but the property is just listed on the market because they can't get the number they want because they owe more than what it's worth. So as you can see here, 280, 268. This is a perfect example of a potential subject to. So let's do another one. Here's another one. Lake Jack. I've never even messed with these properties or looked into these. So price 275. They owe 270. FHA. Again, a little higher interest rate. But again, if you're looking for something to live in it and the payment makes sense, go for it. If you're an investor and you're looking for cash flow purposes, just a matter of doing your homework. and seeing if it still cash flows. But yeah, perfect example. They got $5,000 in estimated $5,000 in equity. So I have no idea how the agent's gonna even get paid on this one. But yeah, let's just look it up just for educational purposes. I always make sure I look into the Zillow or Harlink. As you can see, let me see. Okay, so this one, again, prop stream's not perfect, so this one sold on August 10th. So we're not gonna mess with that one. Here's another one, negative equity. MLS details 57. They selling it for 215. They owe shit a lot more than 215. Let's see if this one hasn't sold. 330 in Alvin. So this one sold in August. Again, property's not it's not perfect. So we're not gonna mess with that one. Move my fucking face. Let's check this one out. MLS, it's selling for 185. They owe 230. Goddamn, they owe a lot. I don't even know how they would be selling it for 180. Let me check the bar link. You always want to do this. So it sold back in April. Okay. Again, prop stream's not perfect, but there are opportunities out there. Let's see. Let's see this one. Disso Court listed for 259, 247. They got a 5% interest rate, FHA loan. They bought it back in 2022. Let's check the hard link just to make sure it hasn't sold. You don't want to waste time. So it's showing not for sale. It's a Zillow link. Let's see if there's a hard link. Here it is. Sold August 7th. Okay. But this is just for educational purpose that these properties are out there. Maybe somebody came in and bought them subject to, or maybe somebody came in and bought it for the asking price. I mean, I don't know. Um, Here's another one. We're just clicking random ones. Selling for 269, 249. Not a lot of equity. Let's see if this one's still available. I don't know if I checked this one already. Yep, it says sold on April 2021. It's 2021. Okay, y'all can see here. And I like to cross-reference the information from PropStream. Like I said, it's not perfect. So they listed it, and then January, March, April in 2023 of this year, the listing was removed for whatever reason. So something like this that's not listed anymore, I would skip trace it, and you can do that through PropStream. I think it's like 12 cents. Get the homeowner's number, reach out to them, and just pitch them the same thing. Like, hey, I noticed this was listed back in April, and for whatever reason you terminated with your agent. Just want to see if you still consider selling. They say yes. Take the conversation from there, and just be like honest, like, hey, I noticed you just bought it back in 2021. Uh, I'm I'm assuming you're about 250, 240 around that price range, and you had it listed for, I don't think it shows it here, for 269. I'm assuming you weren't going to walk away with a lot of money at the closing table. So I wanted to see that now that there's no agent involved, you consider an offer where I come in, take over the payments, and maybe put a little bit more than what you were going to walk away when you had it listed, and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So yeah, that's how I use PropStream. Um, so I'm not affiliated with them or anything. You can go in there. I think you get a 7-day trial. Just use your email. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys that it's possible to buy properties without ever stepping into the bank, without um, applying for anything, showing any kind of tax returns or anything. And we do this every day. I'm a living example, prime example of somebody that lives in a subject to, have lived in multiple subject twos. So I didn't just learn this and just started teaching it. Uh, but yeah, hopefully this little mini masterclass in subject two helped. If y'all have any questions or if y'all have a lead y'all need help with that y'all are working, whether it's with the agent, with the homeowner, and you need help pitching subject two, reach out to me on my YouTube channel, The Paper Flipper, on Instagram, also as The Paper Flipper. So yeah, hopefully y'all got, something out of this and appreciate y'all watching, and until the next one.